having the right Canvas settings can save you lots of time and hassle. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to change in your course so you can spend more time teaching and less time clicking. Let's dive in, starting with global settings. We're going to start with the global settings, and then we're going to move to some dashboard settings, and then finally course settings. There's some really important course settings that I want to show you, so make sure that you stick around until the end. Now to get here, I clicked on my account profile, and you can click on settings. We're also going to take a look at notifications, but let's take a look at settings first. So I'm clicking on settings, and you can see that I've got things here like my name, my email address. I'm going to go ahead and edit settings by clicking the button over here on the right hand side. Now some of these things you might be able to edit, and other things you might not be able to edit. I'm going to leave my full name there. For your display name, you could definitely change that. Maybe you're called Professor Redmond or Mrs. Redmond, so you can change your display name. You can also add pronouns, but the time zone is really, really important. Now, for a lot of us, for a lot of you, this will probably be set for you. But if you're like me and you've got students who are taking your class from other time zones, this is where they'll change that time zone so that the due dates and due times all match up. Okay, so I'm on Pacific time. That looks great. The other thing that you can change here is you'll notice that I've added a profile picture, and you can just notice I'm hovering on my photo. You can click on that pencil and then upload a photo from your computer. I'm just going to click save here. And then I want to get to the email address. Let me click on the X. So my email address by default right now is my school's email address, but you or your students, theirs will look very, very similar, can set up a different address that you want this sent to. To add a different email address, you're going to click plus email address and then type in your email. After you have verified that email, you'll see them both showing up, and then you can click a star on the one that you want to set as your preferred email. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine there as my school's. Once you're done, you can go into notifications. So I'm going to click over here on the left-hand side. Let's click notifications. And this is where you can decide what you want to be notified and how. You might also want to choose to change some of these settings for an individual course by clicking that down arrow, but I just do this on the account level. Now, first of all, to change any of these, you would click on whatever's already there. You can change it to notify immediately, so it would send me an email. You can do a daily summary, so you get a summary at the end of the day, a summary at the end of the week, or you can have notifications turned off. Now, as we go through this, I really think that the first important one are the announcements. I really like to have this one set for me and for my students, and it's the default, but just in case, it's important to have this one set to notify immediately so they also get an email notification. And then as I continue to scroll down here, I also want any invitations to show up right away. So if I get invited to like a professional development course or something, the invitation will show up in my email. Now, continuing down, some of these are less important except for this submission comment. So if I have made a comment to a student, so I've got my speed grader open, I give them some feedback, and then I give them a comment, and they reply back to that comment, I'm not notified that I get that, and it doesn't show up, at least not right now, it doesn't show up in my inbox. So instead, I've got this submission comment set to notify immediately, so it shows up in my work email, and I know that I can go into my inbox, into submission comments, and see my students reply. Okay, so that one's super important. As you continue to scroll down, you probably don't want a notification every single time a student replies or mentions you, but you absolutely want this reported reply to have an immediate notification. A reported reply is if a student has flagged something as being inappropriate for some reason. So you definitely want to know that right away. And then then conversations. Conversations are really inbox messages. So I do like to be notified of my Canvas inbox messages right away. Okay, continuing down, I'm just trying to point out the important things, but you can change these as often as you want. Okay, so continuing down, this one's really helpful too. This content link error. I have this one set to notify me immediately. So if a student goes in and they click on a link and that link is broken, it's really great for me to know so I can go in and fix that for other students. So the content link error I have found to be super helpful, and that's all of them. Okay, there's a lot, right? But that is all of them. Lots of options here. Again, kind of play around with it, but we went through what I think are the most important. So from here, we can click on our dashboard, and I want to talk just a little bit about some of these dashboard settings. So you'll see that I've got my dashboard and it's got a lot of courses in it. You can move these courses around by clicking, dragging, and moving them. You can also select what is seen on your dashboard and what isn't seen on your dashboard. Right now I've got a lot, right? So if I want something, say I don't want this safety course to show up, all I've got to do is to go into courses. This will give me a list of courses, and then I'm going to click on all courses up there on the top. Clicking on all courses, when my list shows up, you'll notice that there is this favorite list over on the left. Everything that has a star that's been selected is going to show up in my dashboard. Now I've been teaching for a super long time, so there's tons of courses here, but I'm looking for that safety course, and to get it off of my dashboard, I'm just going to click on the star so it's no longer selected. Just one more little setting I want to show you on the dashboard. So I'm going to click the dashboard here to get back there, and you'll notice that you've got the 3 dots here in the upper right hand corner of each of those course cards, and you also have the 3 dots up here. If you click the 3 dots at the very top, you've got a couple of options here. The one that I really like to uncheck is color overlay. Mine's unchecked right now, but if I check it, I've got that like default color on all of my courses. I think it's kind of a goofy setting. I'm just going to uncheck that so the images that I've got, and I'm going to show you where those live in a second, so those images that I've got show up really nicely. The other set of 3 dots are for the course card itself. If you click on those 3 dots, you can give it a nickname. I find this to be super helpful if I'm teaching 2 of the same class, but they're just slightly different. I can give them a nickname. I can also go in and, let me click that again, I can also go in and change the color of the name. That color of the name is also, if I scroll down here, it's that background color of the card. Okay, so that takes care of our dashboard settings. We've also done our account or global settings. Finally, and probably most importantly, let's get into those course settings. I'm just going to do this with my statistics course here. So I'm opening up my course. My settings are located in the left-hand navigation all the way down at the bottom. So scrolling all the way down to the bottom, I'm going to click on settings. Before we get into all that is the course settings, I would love to know what your favorite settings are, or if there's any settings that I missed. Help us all out and put those in the comments down below. Now, navigation and really course details are the 2 that we're going to be focusing on. So clicking on navigation. Navigation is all of the things that students can click on here over on the left-hand side, students and you. Anything that has an eyeball here that's at the bottom with that slash through it means it's not visible to students. At the start of a quarter, some of these on top also have an eyeball with a slash next to it. It means that it's going to be visible, but it doesn't have any content in it yet. I recommend that you have absolutely as few items as necessary for your students to navigate through. Now, if there's something here that you don't want to have show up, say that you wanted people to be disabled, you can click, hold, and drag it down to the disabled portion, or you can click the 3 dots on the right-hand side of it and then choose disable, and it will get moved. Now, once you've done that, don't forget to click save so it's reflected over here in your navigation. We're not going to worry about sections today, but we do want to go to course details. Now I've got a course image here. Yours might just say choose course image. If I click on mine, I can choose a course image and I can upload an image from my computer. I've already done that. So let me just go back. So we've got our course image there. Continuing to scroll down, here's that time zone again. This might be fixed for you, but you can change the time zone if you happen to be in a different time zone than what you see here. Some of these things you just won't have any access to. So I can't change my course name, I can't change my term, I can't change my participation starting and ending dates. Those are all set by my institution. But I can change the default due time. Most students expect the default due time to be 11:59. So if you don't specify a due time, then it defaults to 11:59. If you use anything other than that, just make sure you're super clear with your students. I'll have like exam reviews that are due like at 10 a.m. whenever my class happens to be. This is where you can enable a grading scheme, and I do have a grading scheme here. I'll click on view. I've got a video down in my description below that includes all things grading, including how to set this grading scheme. Let me go ahead and close that. Continuing down, we leave the license at private. Visibility, we leave this as course. Public would be something like an orientation class, something that you would want others to have access to. You may or may not be able to change that, but course is what I want there. And then the format, this is really just internal data, so you could change the format all you want, but the students don't get any benefit from you changing the format, at least not right now. And then show recent announcements on the course homepage. This, if you do a lot of announcements, it might be helpful just to have the last, I wouldn't have 3, I would have the last 1 announcement showing up on your homepage. And then these settings here are really important for you to think through. I do want students to be able to attach files to discussions. I don't want students to create discussion topics. You might want to, depending on how you use those discussions. And I also want to give students the ability to edit or delete their own discussion replies. I don't let students organize their own groups, and I do not hide grade totals in the student summary. This isn't a bad idea if you're just not quite there in terms of all of your point allocations and stuff like that. But I always just as transparent as possible. I also don't hide the grade distribution graphs. I do hide sections on the people page. And then this last one is actually super important. I actually disable comments on announcements. For me, I've got the Canvas inbox, I've got my email, I also have a homework program that students can message me on. I just don't need another place to check for a student's comment or reply that might be really, really important. So I just disable those, but again, completely a matter of preference. Okay, and then don't forget to update those course details. That was a lot. Let me know what I missed. I've got another video for you here.